This channel. This is Mediaweek.
Hello, welcome to the program. Ahead, ad revenue forecasts from ZenithOptimedia, the latest media courtroom action, and Game of Thrones, the ratings, illegal downloads and price points. But first, Ten's first half loss has narrowed to nearly $8 million, a big improvement on the $240 million loss a year ago. Revenue rose nearly 8%, helped by the best summer rating since 2008 as viewers tuned into Big Bash cricket and Winter Olympics. But CEO and Executive Chairman Hamish McLennan is warning the advertising market conditions remain tough. Well, for more on the result, we're joined by our co-host James Manning, Mediaweek publisher and editor. James, great to see you.
Righty.
What did you think of the 10 result?
Well, there's no surprises there. Look, they've still got a massive challenge. It's not really good news. Though you made it sound pretty good in that intro. But yeah, no, they've got some big challenges ahead of them. I mean, it's a pretty simple problem. The ratings, everybody knows that, especially in prime time. They're number one in daytime. It's a little bit of money, but it's not the main game. It's all in the evening, and they need to fix that. They've had a few challenges. They nearly got John Stevens across the line, but that's got to go before the courts. You've got to figure, well, their best case scenario is maybe stopping him from going back to work at 7, but it's unlikely he'll ever show up at 10. So, yeah, a few big challenges ahead of them.
So, all in all, this first half probably boosted by the ratings for Big Bash and Olympics, in your view. So that's...
Yeah, well, that's good. I mean, it's part of that strategy, event TV and sport, so that's good news, but it's the... there's only so much of that around, you know, and it's the things, the mesh between those big things that they really need to lift. I mean, they've got some good shows in there that would rate elsewhere very well, we think, you know. They've got some things coming back, MasterChef, Offspring, some things we talked about with the Chief Executive.
Yeah, let's have a listen to that interview, James Manning speaking to Ten CEO Hamish McLennan just a short time ago.
Yeah, look, what we've always said is that it takes time to turn the network round. We made a big bet on the Sochi Winter Olympics and the Big Bash, and that paid off handsomely for us, and that was terrific from a revenue point of view and also a ratings point of view. We are disappointed in our general entertainment schedule, and I think that really does highlight where the problem lies. We have some good content coming back from May onwards, and you know, we just have to work out of our local production content deals into some new franchises so that we can improve the quality of our programming and some of the ratings.
You turn around strategy, sport and event TV, 25-54. The only trouble is it's everybody's strategy these days, isn't it? So it makes content really hard to get. But do you think there's stuff out there you're sort of chasing?
Well, look, I think we've proven it when you look at the Big Bash and Sochi. We're opportunistic with those two particular events. We've got the Commonwealth Games coming up. But I think the point is that it takes time. We need a winter sport. That's something that we're looking at. We did very well out of the rugby last year. And, you know, we've secured a lot of that content at the right sort of prices. So it does prove the strategy works. I think the point to all of this is that we just need more time to be able to make those bets over time. And it does, you know, isn't easier said than done.
One of the brighter notes was your daytime figures, you know, which means there is an audience out there for you, but it probably makes even some of those poorer results you get in the evening a bit more puzzling.
Well, look, I think the thing is that if you have the right content, audiences will follow you. We've been number 1 in daytime for 13 years. We've secured Peter Meakin, who's working with us now in news and current affairs, and just the 7 weeks that he's been with, he's getting growth with those two programs, the 5 o'clock news and the project. So we're very encouraged by what can be done. But again, it just comes down to scheduling and general entertainment for us.
Now, as a newsman, 6 p.m. was one of your challenges. You had looked at a game show, I think. I'm not sure if that's back on the back burner.
It's all speculation, James.
But would he like to get his hands on that 6 p.m. slot? Does he think he could give you something there?
No. Look, we've still got Beverly McGarvey, who's on maternity leave at the moment, and we back her 100%. We've got some ideas around what we need to do at 6 o'clock. We won't telegraph that to the market at all, but we've got some good plans there that if they come off, that'll work very well for us.
Strengthening that scheduling team, ran into a few hurdles there. It's got a challenge in the courts soon. Have you got a plan B for strengthening the team there?
Oh, look, that matter is before the courts, so I don't really want to comment on it. I think what it highlights is that there's a very shallow pool of really good talent in this country, and so you know, we will continue to supplement our resources where we need to. But you know, it's a focus of the business, and we'll look at it, you know, as we trade every day.
10 Play's been working well for you. You're getting big audiences there. You're worried, though, that's former TV viewers who are now watching online on mobile devices, and it's an audience that's harder to monetise?
Look, it's a dilemma for the TV business, but what I found, in the years that I worked overseas, you want to capture the audience and you want it to be your audience, and for you to deny yourself the opportunity of having that person looking at your content, is a missed opportunity. So you've got to capture that viewer, and you've got to look after them, and then you want them to be part of your own ecosystem. So it is quite a vexed problem, but it's also an opportunity for the business, and we're getting great results from 10 Play.
And just your outlook, you called, I think, the ad market uncertain. Is that more a comment on the market itself or how the market views 10?
No, look, everything that we're hearing is that the market has just become very soft over the last couple of weeks. I think there's a little bit of uncertainty out there, and I think the other thing too is that the rise of new media like digital is having an impact on our overall business, and I would say that for the whole free-to-air industry. So whilst on the whole it's solid, I think we've got some fragmentation around the edges.
You promoted you CFO, or you've given him extra duties, I guess, as your Chief Operating Officer now. Will that help your workload? Because I guess Lachlan Murdoch's not as involved in the business day to day as he was, or probably not at all. Is that right?
There's not a problem with my workload, and I think what it telegraphs more than anything is that we want to stick on the course that we've embarked upon. Paul is a terrific operator, so he's going to alleviate, I guess, some of the day-to-day workload as I take the executive chairman's role within the network. But he and I have worked together for a year now, and he's a terrific person, very bright and very committed to the company.
Now for the reaction on the share market to the 10 result, we're joined by Evan Lucas from IG. Evan, shares rising on that. What's the outlook for this stock?
Yeah, the shares have risen, and look, I'm not surprised to say that. Obviously, 10 shares have been absolutely massacred over the last probably about 7 or 8 weeks, down 27.4% from top to bottom. So not surprised to see a bit of a bounce because it had been savaged so hard. But in saying that, looking at the results, it is probably from a consensus point of view, and if you're also a market watcher out there, it is probably poorer than expected. $8 million loss was not what was seen by the market. They were expecting between as worse as probably around $6 million loss, up even as high as a profit of 15. So that was a little bit poor. Also, the EBITDA was well and truly below expectations at $10.1 million. So I know Hamish McLennan there alluded to a lot of events that are coming, but again, what the market cannot see is where he is going to find consistent programming to really drag in those advertisement dollars. And I think that is really what we're seeing from our perspective and where the market is. Event TV is there, but again, if you look at the costs and the fact that costs are up 8.2%, that is also a concern from the market. So, yes, we've seen a pop, but the overall writing opinion of where 10 is currently sitting at, it wasn't a good result, and they're still concerned about that earnings stream, which looks really, really strained with the current market programming, the fact that, the Glasgow Commonwealth Games are not going to be on time slots that fit Australian timelines. So that is all part of the issue at the moment with 10.
Just wanted to ask you too about Fairfax. It's gone back above $1 a share for the first time in close to 3 years.
Yeah, it certainly has. Now, that was an interesting sort of move to watch today. I think it was more on market euphoria, the fact that we have finally seen a bit of a switch out of that real negative sentiment we saw at the start of the week. Again, that turnaround story at Fairfax is still remaining there. Those results we saw at the first half of the year have really driven that move. It's now up 44% year to date. So that is a good thing. It has come back off since that sort of movement at around about sort of 12 p.m. But again, it does look quite interesting, and it does suggest that maybe the market is finally getting a little bit more positive on the Fairfax story and where it is going.
All right, Evan, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bridie.
Evan Lucas there from IG in Melbourne. Let's return to Mediaweek's James Manning with some of the other media news, and something that you asked Hamish McLennan about, of course, was the battle over John Stevens now heading to the court. Some hearing dates set? Yeah,
look, he didn't want to talk much about it but before the court dates, but I think we've got a couple of dates in May where there'll be some preliminary hearings on this. Is there a chance for a settlement beforehand? You've got to think maybe not, because both sides are pretty firm in their positions. 10 said, look, we're just not going to be pushed around by people anymore. And 7's just adamant this guy isn't going anywhere else. He's going to stick with us. And it came out this week that they've offered him international as part of his portfolio to make it a bit more attractive for him to stay at 7. And also news this week of some legal action perhaps against 10. Hamish McLennan and his team might be getting a letter from the Corby solicitor over comments Steve Price made, apparently, I think it was on the Monday show, which was the Charlie Pickering's final program, and ironically one of their best rating episodes for probably well over a year.
And just separately, Seven, there was speculation maybe it was interested in UK's Channel 5, but that's come to nothing?
Yeah, it looks like it. There was a list of 20 people expressed an interest in maybe being part of the auction process for the channel. Richmond Desmond's selling it. He bought it just 3-4 years ago for about 100 million. He wants 700 million now for it. Apparently there's 5 bidders left. Discovery's one of the favoured front runners there. I think they're in partnership with B-Sky B over there, so interesting to see what happens with that.
Right, let's want to ask you about James Manning here on Media Week. Coming up, slow and steady, that's the tip for ad spend growth this year in Australia. We'll get the latest forecasts from Zenith Optimedia CEO Ian Perrin up next.